Hi guys, it's me, Wendy Taylor here, coming on live through StreamYard. So if you're joining me, please say hello. Let me know where you're from. Send me an emoji or hashtag replay if you're catching this later. As we're waiting on some people to come on this morning, I have an announcement for you guys. So I want to talk to you first a little bit about how we work together. So as people are hopping on, I'm going to talk a little bit about this right now before we get into the training today. So a lot of people ask what it's like to work with me. And what I would do is just ask you, how can you take care of yourself better? So if you're finding me here on this training today, you're probably, or you found your way into the group, you probably want to learn more about body kindness and how you can take care of yourself. But maybe you don't know where to begin or where to start. I saw a post, someone else asked this recently, like, I don't know where to start. How do I even begin to take care of myself? So maybe you're here because you don't know exactly how to do that or how to make sure that you're doing that in the right way or prioritizing self-care in your life, which is a huge, huge part of the work that we do in this group when we're seeking food freedom, body freedom, and ultimately a healthier life. So I want to talk a little bit as you're hopping on. If you're hopping on, just say hello. Let me know where you're from so I can see you and I can chat with you guys today, answer any questions as we go through this training. And again, if you're hopping and watching the replay later, just hashtag replay and let me know so I know you joined us and can say hello to you. But I want to tell you, let's see who we have here today. Becoming so aware. I'm so glad. Thank you so much for you guys hopping on. If you allow StreamYard access, I can see who you are. Otherwise, just say, hey, it's me, blah, 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 so I can chat with you today. And I'm so glad. You're welcome. I'm so glad that you decided to join me here today on this Monday live training. So my commitment to you guys is to come on every Monday at lunchtime and have these trainings, these coffee chats with you guys to talk more about this type of thing, especially I'll be coming on a lot more than Mondays this month because we're in National Diet Month and I know how much noise there can be out there. So I want to tell you first, before we get into the training today, about an opportunity to work with me in a small group format. So I formed an 8-week group and we start January 23rd. We'll be meeting at 10:30 Eastern time on Saturday mornings. So I try to make this accessible to as many people as possible. Well, as many people that I want to keep the group small too, so that it will have a feel and we can work together through some of these challenges. I want to keep it like a safe space for us to grow and talk and get to know one another. So a small circle of folks that want to learn, want to grow, and want to practice really being more kind to their body in 2021. Maybe those of you that want to step off the diet roller coaster because you've been on it for so long, or maybe you want to work on a very specific thing in terms of your wellness. You have a very specific aspect of your well-being you're trying to work on. So you're welcome in that group. You're welcome to join us. I wanted to invite you into that. If you want to learn more about it, I just put small group in the comments and I can circle back. So for any of you guys that are joining us now or you join the replay, we're talking about how to get to health without obsession. This is a 3-part series that I put together with you guys. So I want to welcome you. My name is Wendy Taylor. I'm here to really help you tune back into your body and to learn how to take care of yourselves, because that's really, really what health is all about, is taking care of yourself. So I want you to work towards more compassion and less shame when it comes to your body. And so I want to welcome you here to this weekly training, and I'm glad you're joining me. Again, let me know if you're here and you're hopping on. late so I can see you and I can say hello. I want to say that you're welcome here. You belong here in this group in Ditching Diets Together if you found your way here. And I really want to come on and show you value in these trainings each week, and also just love on you guys, because I know there's a lot of negativity out there. So if you're joining me today, I'm glad that you're here. And we're all in this group. We're working towards finding food freedom, our food freedom journey, our body freedom journey, which is a big part of that. And understanding that our health and our worth does not depend on the scale. So if you want to experience more self-care in your life and be less critical of yourself, then you're in the right place. And I'm glad you're joining me today. Because you guys, life is about so much more than just a number on the scale. And I'm so glad that you're here. Okay, so let's hop in to this 3-part training today. I start this training. This training is on how to find health without obsession. And I really want to dig deep into what's holding us back from that today. So we're going to talk about, first of all, fear. And we're going to talk about the fear of weight gain, and how that's actually not controlling your weight. And that's really what is keeping us from getting to that health without obsession ultimately. So let's start with the fear around weight gain. And when I say fear of weight gain, let me tell you what I mean by that. So what I mean by that is maybe you're constantly aware of the food that you're eating or the food that's going in your mouth, or maybe you're constantly thinking, is this healthy? Is this unhealthy? Or maybe you feel like food has to have a reward or a consequence. So you're either eating nutritious, healthy, light food, so you will be rewarded with weight loss, or not gaining weight, so maintaining or not gaining your weight. So you're making choices around food based off what I call diet brain. You'll hear me talk about diet brain a lot in this group. It keeps us from making choices that our own body, our own intuition would tell us to make. So we're going to learn how to find this health without obsession by tuning back into our body and our intuition. So some of you guys will tell me, let me know if this is you. If you find yourself in diet brain, send me up an emoji. Let me know in the comments. But some of you guys will tell me like, okay, I allow myself all to eat. I allow myself permission to eat all foods. All foods fit in my life. And maybe you're physically eating, but you still have some mental restrictions around some of the food you're eating. So maybe you're allowing yourself to eat some of these things that you consider off limits, but then you have mental restrictions, which are what I call shame. Some of you guys feel shame if you eat certain things. Some of you guys feel a lot of guilt or judgment around yourself. So maybe you're sitting there and you're eating something and you're like, I'm giving myself permission to eat this, but I shouldn't be eating this right now. So you're having that battle in your head. If this is you, just let me know in the comments. Say, this is me. And this is what causes this. This is basically the foundation, this fear of weight gain that I'm talking about. So another part is there's this undertone of this fear, this shame, this judgment around food, rather than a love, peace, self-respect, and compassion. So my question is, what is this fear actually doing? What it's doing is it's blocking us. It's like a brick wall blocking us from getting to our intuition, which ultimately will help us find wellness without obsession. So using your intuition, tuning back into your body is such an important part of this work that we do together in this group and the work that I do with my clients. So Intuition it can only work if there's if your head is clear and your mind is clear and it's calm and there's some peace in there. So, with outer influences, and I know we have a lot of them this month. That's why I feel like this is extremely important for me to come on and talk about this today, because there's a lot of noise out there, but it blocks those signals. It blocks us from the peace and the calmness that we need to really tune back into what our body truly wants and needs. So fear is blocking those signals. And what I want you to get to is to really tune into your body and think, that sounds really good to eat today. I think I'm going to go get that for lunch, and not have any judgment, fear, or any shame around it. So intuition, intuitive eating, it's a big part of this work, is tuning back into your body without chipping away at this wall. And it takes time, this brick wall that's between us and what we really want. Health without obsession, without diet brain. We want to make decisions based on our intuition and not have to worry or think about it or obsess about it or shame or guilt ourselves about it. Well, without taking or chipping down this wall, there's no other way to get to the other side. So we have to do this work together. So your intuition is there. We were all born intuitive eaters. That's the great thing, is this work is for anyone. You can watch babies and children. We're born knowing when we're hungry, when we're full. And along the way, influences, outer influences, family, friends, media, doctors, dieting, it has really taken us so far away from where we are supposed to be, which is intuitive eaters. So I want to help you get back to that. So your body's sending you signals. It's saying, this sounds really good, but maybe we've ignored those signals for a long time. So when we start to chip away at this wall, we start to knock down this wall, we release that fear. With each little brick that we chip away at, we're releasing some of these fears that we have that we're going to gain weight. And not only does your intuition start to show, you start to see a little crack, little sun poke through that wall, as you start to chip away at it, you start to learn how to trust your body. You start to feel peace and calm and not be up here in diet brain. And you start to feel a freedom and ultimately love. Acceptance comes first, but then love, to actually be able to enjoy your life, and health comes with that. It's a much bigger picture. It's so much more than just food, exercise, meal plan, 30-day diet, right? So I really want you to feel everything there is to feel about wellness without obsession, and have a sustainable life without this diet brain up in your head and always thinking about food. So that's the focus of the work that we do together. And when you first start working with me, we're deep into changing the mindsets, or before we even get there, we got to become aware of those thoughts, those things that we're telling ourselves. So you might hear me say, this isn't about weight anymore, or you might be thinking that this food is good or this food is bad. Food rules that we have developed over time because of things we've heard or people have told us. You might hear me say, all foods will fit. All foods can fit in your life. But I want you to know that I also understand where you're at, because I've been there, and hearing those things after years of dieting, or hearing those things January, the start of a new year, you might be sitting there saying, yeah, right, Wendy. I get it, right? And you might be thinking like that I'm saying screw wellness, or, that screw health, like eat all the junk. And that's not what I'm saying at all. When you come out of dieting and into this work, it can feel almost like the opposite of dieting, or seem like I'm telling you to just throw all caution to the wind, just go for it. And that's not what I'm saying at all. So, sorry, I'm having a bra strap issue today. But what I'm saying is, to get rid of this fear that we have of weight gain, we have to start to learn to think differently. Because if we've been dieting our whole life and we're still finding ourselves in the cycle, something isn't working. So we have to learn how to think differently. How do we stop this cycle? So getting rid of that fear of weight gain is part of learning how to change your mindset and knowing what this fear of weight gain is actually doing to you. So you guys, when you understand that what has been holding you back all this time is keeping you from this wellness without an obsession, it feels so, so, so good. When you start to see, and that's part of the work that we do in our first month together in the training, is really dive into our diet history, our beliefs about dieting and or our body. So what do I mean when I say releasing this fear of weight gain? It doesn't automatically mean that just because you release the fear that you're going to just blow up and gain a ton of weight. That is not true. News flash for you guys. And I learned this. I learned this myself. I have been doing this work for 4 years now. I do not have obsession anymore in diet brain all up here. But fearing weight gain, it doesn't actually control your weight. If you've been dieting your whole life, I want you to reflect on that for a minute. So most likely it hasn't, because diets don't work. And we can't control our body as much as we really want to. Have you been on a diet and experienced this? Just let me know. Type yes in the comments. If you're answering yes, I'm with you. I've been there. I know that fear. And I've worked with so many women that experience that fear. And I want you to think about something else. I want you to reflect on one more question too. Has the fear of weight gain really resulted in a weight loss in a sustainable way? Those are two things to just kind of like think about as we get off this training today. Because diets really don't work and they're not really sustainable. And I want to ask you this. If you're sitting there and you're like, well, a diet has worked for me, or it has been sustainable, I want you to think about a time when you feel like a diet did work for you. How did your mind feel when you were on that diet? So did you feel any peace? Did you feel any peace around food? Or were you constantly thinking about how many points were in it, or how many macros, or whatever calories, whatever else we're calculating? So if you answered yes, I get it. I've been there. I understand, but it probably hasn't resulted in the sustainable weight loss that you were looking for. And what we have to do is release the fear that we're going to gain weight if we stop dieting. So if you're listening to this and you've lost weight and you kept it off, well, you probably weren't dieting, to be honest. You were probably more or less tuning into your body and you were focusing on how you feel, and the weight loss just happened. And that is so, so, so different than I'm pursuing weight loss. I'm living in the fear of weight gain. This is a focus of mine. I have to lose X number of pounds, because when you focus on the weight, you have that fear lingering in the back of your mind, that fear that you're going to gain weight. And the control actually gives you the opposite results of what you're ultimately looking for. So a lot of women that I work with will go through this restriction binge cycle. So they'll feel a control when they're restricting, but then they'll feel really out of control when they want to have the food that they keep thinking about because they're restricting it. So feeling like you're trying so hard and it's just not working for you. I hear that all the time. I'm trying this, I'm trying that, I'm trying these things, and it's just not working for me. And if your body has changed, okay, let's say you lost some weight because it was intuitive. You don't go running to the scale. If I work with someone and we're working on health without obsession and joy and peace and compassion and love for ourselves, we don't go running to the scale. It's not like you're counting anything. You just might think, my pants feel differently today, or okay, I think it's not like you're like, I think I got to go check this out and hop on the scale and see if I've lost some pounds. You know what I mean? Let's see, we got a comment. Been on a diet for a year, no scales, had exercise program. Then after 1 year, I felt better. I looked better. Then I got on the scales. Yes, I lost not 1 pound. Immediately feeling a failure. Then I threw caution to the wind and was not health-wise at all. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad that you're listening today, because I want you to tune back to that feeling that you had when you felt so good. And it's not about your weight. So one of the things that I encourage the most is to get away from the scale, because I don't want you to tie that number to your worth and ultimately your health, because you'll learn as you work with me, like we can be healthy at any size. So, it's not like you go running back to the scale. You go running to check it out if you feel better. Just like you said, it's like you felt good, and then getting on the scale a year later was devastating. It brought shame, and you were probably healthy just the way that you were. So the same goes for gaining and maintaining. If we're eating intuitively, if we're being kind to our body, if we're living with, we've been through a global pandemic. This is a really, really good example. This past year, maybe you gained some weight. I will use myself as an example here. Oh, my pants feel a little tight, right? And you might, I guess, as an intuitive eater now, one thing I observe is, oh, okay, these pants, they feel a little bit tight. Like I'm not running to go to another diet. I am asking myself, how can I take care of myself? Have I been taking care of myself really this past year? And maybe I need to just go buy some new pants right now and continue taking care of myself, because I know that running around in tight pants is not going to help my situation mentally, emotionally, none of that. I'm just going to go get some new pants. I'm going to keep living the way that I'm living. I'm going to prioritize or really, really reflect on some things that I've been doing this year that, I've got away from. And that's okay too, because we're all stressed. This year hasn't been easy. And I didn't push myself to go out and do a push-up challenge or run a ton of virtual races. It was a rough year, and that's okay. So this is how it is when you're being intuitive with your food and with your body. And maybe this hasn't felt like this for you in the past, or maybe it has. Maybe that year that, you were dieting, you felt you felt like you were really taking care of yourself. But the focus isn't on weight. It's self-care, really. It's on your health. So let's talk more about wellness without obsession, because that's where we want to be. And I'm not saying that this should be everyone's end goal, or that everyone should want wellness without obsession if you're watching the replay later. But I'm not saying you should even focus on health or focus on wellness. What I'm saying is simply that this is my philosophy. And I've learned through all of this that this is how you can get out of that cycle, out of that diet brain. I've tackled it in my own life. This is how, I did things when I was like, okay, I don't want to be obsessed. I don't want to be obsessed over every little number anymore. I don't want to be obsessed about food anymore. If you want this, if you want wellness without obsession, that's what I help people with. So I'm so glad that you're joining me today. It's an entirely new way of thinking and being. If you've lived your life on diets, I was on the fence for a while when I first heard about intuitive eating and being a dietitian. That wasn't how we were trained. I didn't know anything about it. Being an intuitive eater is not a prerequisite to working with me. Many women come to work with me and they are like, I don't understand this, and I'm not sure how to stop dieting. And we work through that. I meet you where you're at. I also want you to know that it's okay, because there's a lot of stuff going on right now, National Diet Month. So I think the biggest part of the work that we do in the beginning is learning how to separate weight from wellness. And we have to do this, because if we link the two together in our minds, right, it's almost impossible to practice wellness without obsession, and focus on behavior change and really self-care. So it's really, really hard to do if we're punishing ourselves constantly. So if weight is at the top of mind, it's really hard to practice true, authentic health. So the first pillar of finding food freedom, that work that we do together in finding food freedom, is learning how to separate weight from wellness, understanding what diets have done to you. And then we learn how to shift the focus off of our weight so we can really get clear on our goals for the future, what we really want. What does health without obsession look like to you? And what's awesome is it's different for each and every one of you that are watching. So you get to really personalize what that looks like for you and what you truly value, and set some intentions. And if you've been around in this group long enough, and and you've heard me say, put weight loss on the back burner. Or I'll say things like weight neutral, or I'll say non-diet. I'm a non-diet dietitian. And when I say that, it doesn't mean that I'm not discussing health and not discussing wellness. We're just not discussing weight. So it leaves you, when you discuss health and wellness without weight being top of mind, you open up a whole world of opportunities and things to work on. And let me tell you, so much more motivating than feeling like you have to reach a number or putting your worth on a number. So I want to talk about something today that will allow you to unlink that weight from wellness. And I want you to think about some science and some research. I can get kind of sciencey. That is my background. So a lot of the work we do is intuitive, but it's rooted in science. So much of what we're taught or what we see out there is not rooted in science. So I do want to always give you the truth and give you the science behind what I'm teaching. There's a lot of assumptions out there when it comes to dieting. There's a lot of known truths, like, things you'll hear people say, well, this does that, or like society overall just knows this to be true. But really, when you look at the science and you look at studies, they actually say diets don't work. So we go through a lot of this when we first work together. But our bias and our focus on weight, it's so strong, you guys, in this culture, that I get it. Scientific truths, they really don't matter. And I'm going to give you an example. And BMI is a really good example. Let's see who we have. Yes. And let me know who you are so I can chat with you. StreamYard doesn't allow me to see who's watching. So yes, we have to separate that weight and that wellness. And I'll give you a really good example of some like truths or scientific things that we think to be true. And literally, it's everywhere. And one of those is BMI. And doctors really rely on our BMI. And to me, that's really frustrating. So we know that this is not a reliable tool to measure our health now, but actually, I want you to know that BMI numbers are actually random. So numbers that tell us that we're overweight, we're underweight, we're obese, or we're normal. These numbers, by the way, I have a really strong word that comes to mind for all of those words. I hate all of those words because when numbers tell you you are something, first of all, that is just not true. It's a lie, and it comes from something that is completely random. So in actuality, the BMI chart was created by a mathematician, and he was studying white males, and these numbers came much later. These numbers that categorized us, they actually came from a pharmaceutical company that was in collaboration with a weight loss drug. They have a pharmaceutical company that had a weight loss drug, and they collaborated with the insurance companies and to come up with these specific numbers that said you're overweight, you're underweight, you're obese. So there's always money behind everything. And you guys, it's the biggest scam in our healthcare system. And yet I hear it all the time, and doctors are using it all the time. They're still being tricked. So when you go to the doctor and they say, hey, you need to lose weight, just know that the BMI is a very, very unreliable tool, and it actually means nothing in terms of your health. So the bottom line is you can't put a random number on something. And it was created for a population by a mathematician, a population of white males. I'm pretty sure none of us in this group fall into that category at all. So I know a lot of you guys have probably experienced this. How many times have you been to the doctor and you've left feeling shame, feeling guilt around a number because you were told that you needed to lose weight because your BMI wasn't where it should be? They do the same with other numbers. Yes. Yes. So I think what I'm saying is this is such a huge assumption people make if they're living in a larger body, is that they're not going to live as long as if they're in a smaller body. So this is a big assumption that I see a lot. And this assumption isn't true. So studies actually show that people that are in the overweight category live longer than those that are in the normal or underweight category. So I hate, first of all, using weight to categorize anything, you guys. And I'm telling you this stuff because I think it's interesting and empowering to learn and to know this information so that you can really understand that focusing on weight is a problem when you're seeking wellness without obsession. So I want you guys to get clear. I want you to be educated. I want you to be empowered knowing these facts. And maybe when you sit down with some of these questions later, you're going to realize, oh my gosh, I've really been obsessed with my weight for 30 years. Or maybe you're like, I'm trying to eat the perfect thing. I'm restricting, I'm working out, I'm doing all the things. I'm jumping through all these hoops around health when in reality, am I really controlling anything? Do you really want to keep doing this? Do you really? That's the question of the day today for this training. So I want you to think when you're sitting down later in the quiet, I want you to just ask yourself, and I don't want you to go out on social media and look at what anyone else is doing. Just stay in your lane and ask yourself, how has this been serving me? And how has this affected me? So if you've been focused on weight for 10, 20, 30 plus years of your life, has it given you the result that you want? Maybe, just maybe, the focus on weight is not the problem. So you're your own person. And I just want you to think about it this way. Maybe it's never been you. Maybe it's not about you at all. Actually, it's not about you, and it's never been about you at all. You've never been the problem. Never. So wellness without obsession, it starts in your mind, because it's likely, I want to tell you this, that no one around you in your immediate household, your very closest person to you, no one around you probably lives this way. I think we got another comment. Okay, we saw that one already. Sorry, I keep checking the comments because I don't want to miss anything. So it's likely no one in your life lives this way. And I can say for a fact that the very closest people to me don't live this way. So that's why we have this group and this community. Wellness without obsession has to start in your mind. You live the way you live. So I want you to imagine for a minute what your life would look like without the thought of needing to lose weight, or without the thought that you can't gain weight. That too, because that's pretty much the same thing, right? So if these thoughts were not even possible, what would happen in your life? I want you to think about it. How would you choose to go out and move your body today? How would you choose to eat? How would you feel about yourself or feel in general? What would your thoughts be about if they didn't have to be about your weight? So what I'm saying is that what I want for you guys, for all of this, is with this work that we're doing together, is I want every step of the way for your eyes to be open, especially this month. That's why I'm coming on 3 times this week. I want you to start questioning things. I want you to question why you do the things that you do. I want you to decide what you want to keep and what you want to throw out. What new things do you want to add to your life when it comes to wellness? And it comes back to what feels good to you. What do you feel aligned with? It's different for everybody. So you can dive really deep into what this means for you. This is what I do the first session with clients. And I know this is a lot to take in, but I want to invite you today to take some time to separate weight from wellness. Now, I have a free workbook for you. If you haven't got the workbook yet, I've created it around the holiday season time. It's how to literally make decisions based off your intuition, not your diet brain. So if you want the workbook, let me know. Put workbook in the comments and I'll get it to you. You guys, this BMI thing though, it really ticks me off going back to that. It's really frustrating. So what can we do about it? What can we do about this? We can learn. We can absolutely learn. It's really frustrating when you realize the lies that we've been told around about our health in general. So we can get empowered. And you know what I love is we don't have to fall victim to it. We can be like, you know what? I'm educating myself. I'm learning new things so that I can move forward. And I like to call it undieting. This is like undiet work that we're doing. We're undoing and we're unlearning all the things that diet's ever done to us. Because yes, I know this work is hard. And I'm not going to pretend like it's easy, but that's why I'm with you every step of the way. So a lot of times we have to challenge our beliefs that we've come to believe about foods, about our body, about just ways of thinking in general. So as you move forward, you'll feel yourself standing up against things that you've always told yourself in the past. So you'll stand up against those things and you'll feel like, you know what? Do I really believe that anymore? Like I've always told myself that, but I want you guys, it's so ingrained in us. I want you to learn new information. I want you to read new information. To learn is really what all this is about. It's uncovering the facts. It's uncovering the truth. And it's exposing you to new things. You know, that's what I love about this work in general. It's just, I remember going back and learning all of this, and I remember learning the truth and thinking, you know what I'm doing now, this work that I'm doing is right. So I think it can be a nice reassurance as you go along to always continue to learn these things. And I also want to say, like, if you're new to all of this, like if you're watching the replay later and this stuff is completely new to you, if it doesn't feel true to you, that's okay too, because it's really hard right now and this time of the year. But I want you to know that it is the truth. And you guys, this work, it aligns with me. It aligns with my values. So I'm not trying to make you believe something that you don't want to believe. I just really want you to tune back into your intuition, to come out of diet brain. Because intuitively, when I hear this information, when I learned this information, it felt good to me. And I want you to think about all this information and sort through it. And how does it feel to you? Kind of just, I want you to just absorb it all and learn. So does it feel good to you? If you can ask yourself, does this feel good to me? That's all you really need to know. it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. So I do want to say that I think it's still really cool that the information that I'm giving you is backed up in facts. So the end, I want to challenge you to dive into your own personal wellness journey today, and it's focused on weight. Because at the end of the day, you guys, I think we are our greatest teachers. So I want to end with some thought questions, just some questions to really make you start to think. If you have a journal, a pen and paper, jot these down and give yourself some time to really think about this later. How has your focus on weight affected you? What actions are you taking when you try to pursue weight loss? What results has it given you up to this point? I want you guys to give this reflection the time and the attention that it deserves. I realize that you're all busy, so I put this together in a workbook for you. So if you would like the workbook, I want you to just comment workbook below, and I will get that workbook out to you. And then lastly, as we end today, I've just got a final reminder for you guys. Just a reminder that this is the final chance for a holiday offer that I put together for you guys. The Body Image Reboot is 50% off because I want you guys to have the opportunity to integrate compassion, acceptance, gratitude, empathy, self-worth, all of these things into your daily life in 2021 to find health without obsession. And this is the small group program that I talked about in the beginning. So in 24 hours, it won't be 50% off anymore. We kick off January 23rd. But here's what's inside. So inside of the Body Image Reboot, it's 8 weeks. So we work on 8 steps together. That's 1 step each week to live a more embodied life, which is really how you experience life and health in your body. And this is a huge piece of the foundation to food freedom. So in week 1, we really take a look at our own strengths and weaknesses. And so you have your own distinctive appearance, your own unique experiences that make up who you are and your body image. So in the first week, you're going to get like a series of tests to kind of uncover the many facets of your unique body image. And then in week 2, we kind of take a look at the past. So historically, in week 2, we get together and we talk about negative body image. Why do you have the negative body image? Where did it come from? So we pinpoint exactly where and when that started for you. And then we'll learn to use expressive writing to come to understand our own body image story. In week 3, okay, we're in the past. In week 2 and week 3, we come to the present. The past is only going to tell us so much. So we have that information, and it's really, really important to know that story and that past. But in week 3, we start to work on our mind and how we think and how we behave in present situations. So when we work on mindfulness and acceptance, we're working on that in our here and our now experiences. Week 4, we're learning to feel what we think. Okay, so you can see there's a process, past, present, we're becoming aware, we're learning to feel. So you guys, learning to feel so greatly influences our beliefs, our interpretations, and our thoughts. So in week 5, we work on changing our minds. We really dig into the internal talk, the feelings behind it, what we're telling ourselves, mental mistakes, distortions. In week 6, we take a look at what is called evasive actions. This is like patterns or negative body image leading us to act in self-defeating ways that aren't really great for us. So in week 7, we uncover other self-defeating patterns, more appearance preoccupied patterns, compulsive patterns that are keeping us stuck in negative body image. So we're going to work to create, ultimately, in week 8, more pleasurable experiences in our body. There might be a lot more work to do than just 8 weeks on this, I do want to say, but this is enough time to take you through this process, to learn more, to lay the foundation, which really we ultimately need for food freedom. So after this last week together in week 8, you can really have a stock full of successful changes. You will have learned so much about yourself, your past, your present, some behaviors that may be destructive for you, and we'll work to change those behaviors. So you'll almost get like a body image roadmap, for lack of a better word, for preventative maintenance going forward. So again, this is a pretty good foundation to the work we do together in finding food freedom. Whew, guys, that was a lot. So if you're interested, all you have to do is type reboot in the comments and I'll get back to you. And when you sign up, I'll be jumping on an hour-long coaching call with you. So before we actually get going together, I want to get on the phone with you and I want to find out a little bit more about you and where you're at in this journey. And I want to walk you through the program together in the back end. So if you have any questions, we have time to go through those together. I've tongue-tied. It's almost lunchtime, that's why. But it allows me to really answer any questions that you have. So I like to hop on a coaching call with you before we get started. So if you're ready to stop struggling with your body, start practicing body kindness, to start 2021 off in a different way than you ever have before, then let me know. Just type reboot in comments and I'll reach out to you. I am so thankful and grateful that you joined me today, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. Bye, guys.